Here are 11 tips to help you dominate in Season 15, so let's get into it. Tip number 1, reinforcing doesn't stop grenades. So we all know that Catalyst can reinforce doors with a passive. When reinforced, a door will take 4 kicks to break as opposed to the normal 2. However, there is a catch. A reinforced door can still be destroyed in one hit by a grenade or an ability such as Fuse's Tactical. So it might be worth carrying a grenade around with you this season. So if you're playing Catalyst, this is an issue and just watch out for it. Tip number 2, ZIPRAILS go faster downhill. So I was surprised at how few people knew this, but when you're on a zip rail, you go considerably faster when going downhill and much slower when going uphill. This is something to consider if you're using one to make a quick escape, as if you're trying to get away from enemies and you're going uphill on the zip rail, they're going to be able to shoot you much easier. But if you're going downhill, then you'll go so much faster and you'll be very hard to hit. So use this to your advantage. Tip number 3, abuse long range weapons. So on Broken Moon, there is lots of open spaces between POIs, so it is a good idea to carry around a sniper or marksman, especially the triple take. The triple take has been buffed this season, and it now has a faster fire rate and the choke closes faster, and let me tell you, it absolutely slaps. You'll be downing enemies left, right and centre with this thing. I definitely feel much safer carrying a triple take on this map, so I recommend you do the same. Tip number 4, conserving momentum on zip rails. When you're about to hit the end of a zip rail, if you hit crouch or jump just before it kicks you off, you'll conserve all your momentum from the zip rail and you'll be able to slide or bunny hop quite far off from the end of it. This is very useful if you're entering a fight, as you can just quickly fly in, crouch and just slide into the building, and if you time it right, you'll be able to just wipe everyone and get a load of kills. Tip number 5, ANVIL receiver. The ANVIL receiver has returned after 6 seasons and it is just as overpowered as ever. For those that don't know, it increases the single fire damage while reducing the fire rate and using 2 bullets instead of 1. It is good on the R301 and incredible on the flatline. It can make these weapons from amazing to insane. It can make these weapons so much more versatile by giving you far more long range potential, which is essential on Broken Moon. Use it and abuse it. Tip number 6. Zip rails work like ziplines. What I mean by this is that on zip rails you can only interact with one 3 times before being kicked off, and you will have inaccuracy on them just like on ziplines. So think twice before shooting someone who's on the ground, as most of your bullets will miss and they'll just shoot you back and probably kill you, or at least do a lot of damage. Tip number 7, you will be contested. Because the POIs are so big on Broken Moon, you can bet that most games you'll get contested. So a good way to deal with this is to look around and see where your enemies are landing within your POI, then land on the outskirts of this POI, loot a building or 2, then go in and join the fight. This will put you at a huge advantage, as your enemies will be scrounging for loot because they've all landed in the same place. You'll be pretty good looted. You've looted 1 or 2 buildings. You can go in, wipe them all, get a load of easy kills. Tip number 8, telling the difference between enemy and friendly catalysts. This may sound obvious, but when you have multiple catalysts in a battle, it can sometimes be hard to tell whose abilities are whose. So here's how. The friendly catalyst abilities have sort of a blue glow to them, whereas the enemies have a red glow to them. It can be subtle and hard to see when you're in the moment and there's abilities everywhere, but most of the time this will help. Tip number 9, destroying a catalyst tactical. You can only destroy a catalyst tactical by shooting the orb in the middle, and the orb only appears when you get close to it. So it's no use emptying your entire mag into one from 50 meters away. It's not going to do anything except make it look like a fool. So just walk up a little bit closer and shoot the orb that then appears. You'll destroy it. I think it takes 150 damage. Tip number 10. Legends in the firing range. You can now use any legend in the firing range even if you haven't unlocked them. This is extremely useful for new players who want to test out legends before buying them. And we've also been asking for this since Apex started, so it's nice to finally see it added into the game. Tip number 11, ring 1 time increased. The round 1 pre-shrink time has increased from 60 seconds to 90 seconds. This means that you will have more time for looting and rotations at the start of the game. This can also help you with some crazy rotations, like if you have a really long way to go to the next ring, or you're being kept by a team and you want to go all the way around, it helps with that. Tip number 12 is that if you want to improve more at Apex, then subscribe to this channel so you can watch more tips videos like this one as soon as they come out. Bye!